The Chicago Bears are in an interesting position right now. Assistant GM Ian Cunningham might be heading to Jacksonville to take the Jaguars' general manager job. On the surface, this seems like a loss for the Bears front office, but there's a silver lining. The NFL's minority hiring initiative means Chicago would get a compensatory third-round pick for the next 2 drafts. So, should Bears fans be excited? Is this a true benefit or just another case of fool's gold? Let's break it all down. Ian Cunningham has been an important part of the Bears front office since 2022. He was brought in as assistant general manager by Ryan Poles and has played a key role in scouting, evaluating talent, and shaping the roster. Before joining the Bears, he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, where he helped build a Super Bowl contender. He's got a sharp eye for talent and a solid reputation around the league. If Jacksonville hires him, it will be a great opportunity for him, but a loss for Chicago. The Bears front office is already facing a critical offseason. There are major decisions ahead, from figuring out the quarterback situation to improving the offensive line and finding another playmaker at wide receiver. Losing Cunningham at this time adds another layer of challenge. But the compensatory picks could be useful, assuming the Bears make the right choices. That's the key question, though. Can the Bears actually do something meaningful with these picks? Historically, the third round has not been kind to them. Look at the track record. Kieran Amegaji was drafted as an offensive tackle, but he struggled with injuries and barely saw the field. Zach Pickens, a defensive tackle, had an underwhelming season and was inactive for several games. Illusions Jones Jr. was a complete disaster, fumbling away multiple games and failing to carve out any role on offense before getting cut and landing in Carolina. Even looking further back, the Bears' third-round history is rough. The last real impact player they got in that round was David Montgomery in 2019. Before that, maybe Earl Bennett in 2008. That's not a great track record, a lot of wasted picks, a lot of names fans would rather forget. So what should the Bears do with the extra pick? They need to address key areas of the roster. Running back could be an option, especially if a dynamic playmaker is still on the board. A slot receiver would also make sense, someone who can provide a reliable third option behind DJ Moore and whoever else they bring in. A pass-checking tight end could add another dimension to the offense. Or they might look at safety, where they could use a more mobile, rangy player to pair with Jaquan Brisker. If the Bears hit on the pick, it could be a huge win, but given their history, it's hard to be confident. Ryan Poles needs to prove he can do better in the third round than his predecessors. He's done a solid job fixing the roster overall, but his draft history still has some question marks. This pick is another chance for him to show he can find talent in the middle rounds. This situation also puts more pressure on Poles. He's already heading into a critical offseason. He has to decide who the Bears' next quarterback will be. He needs to improve the offensive line. He has to find another game-breaking receiver. Adding another pick sounds nice, but if the Bears don't get the right player, it won't mean much. There's also the Ben Johnson factor. If the Bears land Johnson as their head coach, that could change their draft approach. Johnson, as the offensive coordinator for the Lions, turned Detroit's offense into one of the best in the league. If he has influence over the draft process, maybe he helps Poles and his staff make better picks. Look at how the Lions have drafted in recent years. They've found talent in every round. If the Bears can follow that blueprint, maybe this extra third-round pick actually turns into a key piece for the future. Of course, there's another option, trading the pick. If Poles doesn't trust himself to find a gem in round 3, he could package that pick in a trade. Maybe it helps move up in round 2. Maybe it's part of a deal to get an impact player. The point is, the Bears don't have to use it if they think they can get more value elsewhere. It's also important to consider how the loss of Cunningham affects the team beyond the draft. Front office continuity is crucial. A strong personnel department helps keep the team moving in the right direction. Poles has leaned on Cunningham for talent evaluation, negotiations, and big-picture decision-making. With him gone, Poles will need to either replace him with someone just as capable or take on more responsibility himself. That could be a challenge, especially in an off-season where so much is at stake. The impact of this loss could extend beyond just 1 or 2 drafts. Good front office executives help set the tone for an organization, finding hidden gems and making smart roster moves that pay off years down the line. If Cunningham was a major part of that for the Bears, his departure could hurt more than people realize. The hope is that Poles has learned enough from him to keep things moving forward. There's also the reality that the Bears aren't just 1 or 2 players away from serious contention. Yes, they made strides in 2024, but there are still multiple holes to fill. An extra third-rounder sounds good, but unless the Bears hit big in free agency and in the early rounds of the draft, that pick won't mean much in the grand scheme of things. The focus has to remain on building a strong foundation and making sure that whoever they bring in, whether through the draft or trades, can be a difference maker. One thing is certain, this is a make or break offseason for Ryan Poles. The Bears have assets, they have draft capital, they have cap space, they have the opportunity to take a major step forward, but all of that means nothing if they don't make the right moves. The loss of Cunningham adds another challenge to an already complex puzzle, but it also creates an opportunity to prove that this front office can adapt and keep improving. So, is this a win for the Bears? It depends on how you look at it. Losing Ian Cunningham is not ideal. He's a smart football mind, and losing talent in the front office is never a good thing. But in return, the Bears get an extra draft pick. That's a positive as long as they do something valuable with it. The Bears have historically struggled in round 3, and unless Ryan Poles and his scouting team change that trend, this pick won't mean much. But if they use it correctly, either by drafting the right player or using it in a trade, it could be an unexpected boost for this team. Either way, this offseason is going to be massive for the future of the Chicago Bears. Whether they keep this pick or flip it, all eyes are on Ryan Poles to make the right moves. What do you think, Bears fans? Should we be excited about this extra pick, or does our third-round history make it hard to trust? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bears coverage. Bear down!